So when you got started, was it immediately like, I'm not going to do anything less than 1 million? How do you just get going to that? How do you learn things? How do you break into that business? How do you get the trust of high net worth individuals?
So it's not about the price point, but the client. And regarding the respect or the trust from the clients on these kind of properties, I do feel it comes a lot with who you are and who you are trying to sell. Okay, because not everyone is born into something, but if you prepare and work for it, there's always going to be a first time. There was a first $1 million property that I got to sell. There was a first $5 million property. There's always a first. I believe it's in the energy and what you think you're capable of doing. And if you have the right way and you follow the right path, you're going to be able to make it. And
Hey guys, welcome to the Realized Gains podcast. I'm Stephen Tran. We're on episode 64. I'm a multifamily investor and short-term rental investor.
And I'm your co-host, Jordan Lee, mortgage lender based here in Portland, licensed in 9 states. And I also invest in single family. And we have just got our first duplex together. Yep. And we're trying to find a commercial tenant for the bottom.
Oh, yeah. If you guys know anybody. But hey, Jordan, who did we interview today?
We had a super interesting interview. A friend of ours a new friend of ours reached out through the gram and was interested in being on our podcast. She's based in Miami.
Yeah.
Her name's Alejandra Alfonzo.
Yeah, I think she's with the Nicholas Group out there. I think they're the number 1 or number 2 team out in Miami. And so she came and kind of gave us a little...
huge producer.
Yeah, huge producer. Gave us a lot about her experience in luxury and also just kind of her investment philosophy in the Miami, Florida area.
Yeah, some great tips. So if you're interested in how to make it as a real estate agent, or if you're interested in investing in the Miami market, this would be a good episode for you to tune into.
Thanks. Hey guys, welcome to the Realized Gains podcast. I'm Stephen Tran.
And I'm your co-host, Jordan Lee here, and we're super excited to host another Zoom conference with Ali Alfonzo. Hey, and do you mind just real quick for our listeners giving us a quick, background of your story, kind of how you, where you grew up, what got you where you are today, and how you got into real estate? We'd love to hear.
Sure. So I was basically born and raised in Venezuela. I came to Miami 15 yeyears ago. I started the real estate business as a visa purpose.
Why'd you come to Miami?
Well, a lot of Venezuelans come here to vacation, and it was very familiar. So okay. I've been coming here since I was born. Uh-huh. I went to school in New York. I went to culinary school. But then
I saw that on your... You went to the CIA or where?
Yes, I went to the Culinary Institute of America, one of the first to graduate as a bachelor in science, in culinary science.
Wow. And did you practice in the culinary world for a while, or?
Yes, I did in Manhattan for Daniel Boulud. But then September 11th came, so I returned to Venezuela.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I came here to Miami. I became part owner of a real estate company for visa purposes, and I fell in love with the business, and I stayed doing this.
What about real estate got you interested, especially in Miami?
Well, in Venezuela, I used to be in sales. Okay, I used to work for our family business that is 107 years old. We sell different brands. I used to work selling and marketing brands from the US, like Campbell's Soup and all these other brands. So it's kind of the same. Okay, if I was able to sell soup in a can to Venezuelans, selling a house was not going to be that hard. So, no, and I really fell in love with the process, like the typical process, the open houses, the looking for great investments and then reselling at higher values. So it kind of became my life, and I stayed focused on this and growing and learning more to develop more the business. And then I joined Angel Nicholas, and we have the Nicholas Group. And basically, that's what we live for, real estate.
And you chose real estate with, I mean, you had the sales experience. What made, like, why were you like, okay, I'm gonna buy a real estate company? Like, where did that come from, and like what?
So yes, so in order to be legally in the States,
Mhm.
I needed a working visa.
Okay.
Okay, and the business it appeared like it was an opportunity back then. Okay, the
Okay.
real estate business. So we decided to go along with it, and as soon as we got the visa, we had to work it. Okay,
Got it.
so basically it became part of it,
So that
and
was just like one of the paths of least resistance for you.
correct, correct. It was the easier way to stay in the US
Mhm.
legally, which I needed. And it seemed like a fun business, and it was sales. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not that hard. And honestly, to become an agent is not that hard. So, you think, okay, I'll make the course and I'll sell $1 million in real estate.
I was gonna I was gonna say that not a lot of people think that getting into real estate is the easy way through. Yes, getting your license is easy, but getting sales is hard. So, I mean, talk us through the process of, I mean, you're not exactly new to this country because you said you visited, but you're new to this business, kind of new to the neighborhood as somebody who's living here full time. How did you start off and start building your business?
Well, since I was born, I've been coming to Miami. So what Key Biscayne, Coral Gables, Miami, Pompano, Boca was very familiar to me as a tourist. Okay, but then learning the process of real estate is not that hard. Like, and I truly believe it's like everything. If you want to do something, you get there. So
Mhm.
yes, I had to start in a different way that most local agents to figure out the way. And obviously, I started with the market I was living in. So live, play, breathe, work.
Right.
At some point, is natural to you.
Mhm.
And and the area that I work is very close by. So that's how I was able to manage and became a part of it. And obviously, then my company became smaller to what I wanted. So I joined a larger one, and
Mm.
then a larger one, and now I'm in the top one nationwide. So that
And like your English is obviously super good right now, not your first language. How was your English?
my accent.
How was your English 15 years ago?
Well, again, as a Venezuelan, I had the opportunity of coming to summer camps since I was 6.
Mm.
So
Mm.
they would put me in a plane. I would stay 8 months, no, 8 weeks in New Hampshire or Albany or like most of them up north.
I've
So
always found that like I speak some Chinese, and I've always found that like trying to talk about like, legal and financial terms in a second language can be really challenging. Did that come pretty quick to you, or was that part?
well, no, because my dad prepared me for it. He
Oh,
always
good.
wanted us to be prepared to go and study abroad. So
So he knew he wanted you to be doing international business more or less, or from early on.
correct, correct, yes, like my whole family. So it was part of growing up in there. But yes, internally, I can confess that for me, still, I can feel it at least more than anyone else. But it's just part of it, you
Yeah.
know. I tried. That's why I said my kids actually they laugh and they laugh at the way I talk and I say, listen, at least I talk two languages. Only one.
No, I think it's great. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to put ourselves in uncomfortable places to try things, to learn it, to move forward. And I know you're one of the top performing teams in like Miami, and you guys also work in luxury. So did you feel like that was like always going to be the path you're going to be going?
Yes. Yes.
So
I want
early on, you're targeting luxury.
correct. I
Mm.
won't lie to you. Yes, I've been preparing during 15 years for this. Like you want to get to a certain point where you feel that you made it, and my partner is the same way. We actually laugh because we love breaking records. We love the impossible. So yes, we and I believe that for him it was the same way. We always wanted to be at certain level.
And can I ask, so when you got started, was it immediately like, I'm not going to do anything less than 1 million? How do you just get going to that? How do you learn things? How do you how do you break into that business? How do you get the trust of high net worth individuals?
Okay, so I still do 100,000. There's nothing less. I would do it. I do $2,000 rentals. It's big, like it's the client, is the relationship. For us, is more that the price point.
Mhm.
And investors, for example, I get a pool. They have this total investment, but they invest in a lot of properties, and you have to take care of that. And a lot of them are rental properties, and you have to manage that. So it's not about the price point, but the client. And regarding the respect or the trust from the clients on these kind of properties, I do feel it comes a lot with who you are and who you are trying to sell. Okay, because not everyone is born into something, but if you prepare and work for it, there's always going to be a first time. There was a first $1 million property that I got to sell. There was a first $5 million property. There's always a first.
Yeah.
But I believe it's in the energy and what you think you're capable of doing. And if you have the right way and you follow the right path, you're going to be able to make it. And that's why I always try to tell to my new agents or the people that join the team, like nothing is impossible, but you cannot think that you're going to get there right away. You have to scale it up, especially in real estate.
Yeah, and well, just in particular, like what are specific skill sets you need into that higher realm of home prices? Like, do you need a specific skill set? Do you need to know more product types or like quartz and marble and know all the styles? Like, I'm very curious about what is the skill set that is
Sure.
needed to do that.
Sure, and that's also why the background where you come from also helps a lot. Okay, Florida, it's full of international investors. Okay, so we kind of talk same language. Okay, it's not the same to sell real estate in New York or in California than to sell it in Florida. Everything is different. Even the way the open houses work or the way you market properties is completely different. So yes, on the side of the property, you have to know a lot about developers, architects, what kind of materials are being used in X property, what is high end, what is not so high end, especially when you are representing buyers, okay? Because yeah, everything seems pretty when it's new, but what is the real part of it behind? Okay, so that is important, but also to work the luxury market, you have to understand a lot of how these buyers or sellers work. Okay, it's not the same to sell somebody's first home or vacation property than to work with someone that has a real estate portfolio or that buys in order to sell and gain. So it has to do a lot about learning who you're working with. Channels are different. With some properties you talk directly to the owners, some others you have a lot of things that you have to go through in order to get the listing or to sell it. A lot of owners don't represent themselves, for example. They have financial advisors, or they have people behind, or they have financial movements that they need to do. Or so it's complex, but as long as you learn the way and adapt to each client, you're able to do it.
Got it. And in the marketplace that you're representing, just out of curiosity for, investors that are kind of always looking at different speculative markets, what's kind of like the price point that you're seeing is maybe median price point, or the a place that you're finding people, or does it pretty broad, or what are you seeing in your area?
It's pretty broad, and it depends. There's three of the most common tiers investors play here. That is industrial warehouses, or office space, or combination of both. The other one is multifamily, and the entry level. And I say the entry level because it's especially when most of them begin, is the investment one unit.
Like a single family type, three bedroom, two bath, or more like a condo?
More like a condo.
Okay.
Like especially Latin American investors, they usually start with a condo or two. Pre-construction is very common here in Miami. Okay, so it depends. So between that range, okay, you can manage, and like on an entry level between the 400,000 up to 2-3 million on the entry level. Okay, depending on what kind of property you are looking to.
That's for like a condo in that area.
Correct.
And are these typical like high-rise condos, or what? How many?
Correct. Usually, yes. Yeah, the typical, and you probably have heard of it, the typical is Brickell. Okay, in Brickell you have from the regular one to the most high-end one.
Mhm.
Okay, and since it's familiar to a lot of the outside investors, they trust it. Okay, and it has to do a lot about that. Investors that are not familiar with whole Florida, they try to focus on what everybody else is doing, and the biggest force is concentrated in there. You have some other places in Broward, but the typical one is Miami, downtown Miami, Brickell. Okay, that's usually where they focus.
And for those condos, financing wise, is it pretty straightforward? You can get conventional loans. It's, put 25% down.
100%. I think every player has adapted. So it doesn't matter if you are in like an investor or if you're local, they have products for everyone. And it's like the market had to adapt, and it has done for quite a long time now. It is not as restrictive as some other places.
And cash flow wise, are you able to like cash flow if you're putting 25% down ballpark? Is it still an investment that more or less pencils?
Typical is 20%. The requirement is usually like for and especially you guys understand that it varies, but like the standard is 20%.
And then how are the HOA fees there for the entry level stuff?
Okay, so let's say for a 20-year-old building in Brickell, okay, you can get a 1-bedroom right now at 550,000, paying 900 to 1,200 of homeowners association monthly.
Oh, okay. But and you're
renting it at 2,800, 3,000, depending on the view.
Okay, and so those rent out like with a pretty decent rent.
Correct. Yeah. So and it has always been kind of in between before pandemic to have in the water to have a 4-5% return. It was good net return. It was sustainable. After pandemic, we're seeing 8, 9, 10%.
Oh, wow.
Because rent is right now is super high.
So this is for like long-term rentals. Can you tell me about maybe the short-term rental market in Miami and how that works? I know there's probably some restrictions since it's such a popular area.
There's a lot of restrictions, and I don't do that one. I mean, the long-term rentals. Yeah, no, the city and different cities, Miami Beach, Miami, they all have different rules, and it's managed by different. Is not usually the typical real estate agent who does that.
Right.
It's done by specific companies or specific individuals that take care of that.
Long story short, it's not super easy to just buy a property and make it into an Airbnb.
100%. I manage 80 units for investors that I work. Most of them are in Brickell. They are all long-term and like yearly rentals. Okay, because we have yearly contracts.
Sign annual leases.
Correct.
So and property management as well as a brokering.
For my clients, yes. So we have investors that basically they don't want to have to do anything with anything. So basically,
I have this much money. You find a place for me. You rent it out. Pay me every once a month and take your cut.
Correct. From creating the companies that are going to buy these properties to paying their taxes, like full service, white glove service. Complete, nice. Full white glove. That's Miami.
And what is and like property management wise, we just put a property under management. I think we're at like what, 8% or something.
Yeah, but 8%.
What is your typical fee that you see is in the market there?
Or I have 2 types of property management that we do. We have the white glove that is for owners. Okay, that's completely different. It depends on the property and it's custom. Okay, it's tailor made.
Yep.
And the other one is 10% of the yearly rent.
Got it. Got it.
So, yeah, and we take care of everything
Mhm.
from payment of association to renewing contracts, everything.
And can I ask, I mean, you're running two businesses. How do you manage? I mean, they're kind of different, obviously, selling real estate, buying real estate, and then managing properties. I mean, I'm assuming you have a team that helps you deal with obviously all of the maintenance and the plumbing issues and everything.
I have 4 wonderful right hands. I have, and in our team, we have we have specific persons that help us with different tactics, because Angel and I both believe that when we take a listing, and this is the core of our business, okay, we buy and we sell real estate, okay, for our clients. And when we take these listings, it's our responsibility. So for 99.9% of the time, we do the showings, we do the negotiations, we do everything real estate. What's behind is what we get help with. We have a wonderful, like my brain is called Lisette Fernandez. I wouldn't live without her. But everything real estate, like on the selling and the buying of the properties, we are on the first row. So yes, we need to have like a very solid team behind us.
Speaking of teams, and building a successful team, it seems like right now there's a lot of movement going on among brokerages, both the big ones and the small ones. What is there anything different that you're doing in the marketplace right now to attract quality team members, or is it kind of the same strategy that you've had throughout your career?
No, we have to adapt and rearrange the way we were working at the team, because when I started, being an agent was just being, a real estate advisor. Nowadays, a lot of people get their license and they believe they're going to be on a Netflix show. A Rolls Royce, and they're going to get the Rolex. And honestly, that's not what real estate is about. So we are very careful in who we bring into the team. Okay. Our biggest concern is the relationship with the client and the responsibility we have on us. Like, most of the investors, not to say all, but I truly believe it's huge what they put into these investments. And you have to be very responsible on what you sell and what you bring to them, because they're trusting you. So you have to be up to date with the numbers and with the real part of the real estate part of it. It's not earning a commission. Okay. Our clients are clients forever. It's a relationship you're building. So it's kind of teamwork, because you sell to them, then you resell to them, and you always want to be their advisor. So you have to be very careful on what you do. And we had to transition a little bit on how we were hiring people into our team. Okay. Ethics is very important. Intelligence is very important. It had to adapt, but basically we have a great team of professionals that are focused on exactly that, the well-being of the client.
I mean, do you see just more people in general that are interested in like becoming realtors from other professions and like without experience versus, because of, like you were saying, the popularity of certain TV shows and that type of thing?
Yes, it became, I think it's kind of like the influencers also in that matter. It's easy, like it's relatively easy to get a real estate license. Okay, you can do it in a week, at least in Florida. Okay, and people think, oh no, I get my license and I'll just call someone and I'll get a listing. Let me tell you, for us, it's a whole process. Like, it's not having the license, is marketing, is cold calling. Not a lot of people understand cold calling. It's being behind the numbers. To have a listing is not just to have a property on the market waiting for someone to call you. It's the way you do business, the way you sell, or the way you represent your buyers. What do you know of your market? Do you know of any off markets in the area? What's going to be listed? It's a relationship within the other agents in your area. So for me, it's a profession like any other profession. You need to prepare, and you need to spend well over 5 years to be fully prepared for every client.
Speaking of marketing, I saw that you kind of have like a background in marketing and what is there a specific marketing strategy that you employ or that you found to be the most successful and that you've really leaned into recently or throughout your career?
Yes, I truly believe in thinking outside the box.
Mm,
Like the cookie cutter type is just, the same and the same and the same. And I
right.
think when you go differently, sometimes you create this reaction into people that
Yeah.
attracts more. So for like and it has been the same with food, from houses, from myself, from whatever you're trying to sell. It's a lot easier if you just follow your gut. And that's my motto all the time. Just if you feel is right, go for it. Like it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would love to hear some examples, or like what are some creative things, or like open house ideas, or how are you marketing to kind of like
Stand out, yeah.
stand out, give that shock factor.
That purple cow or whatever that book is.
Yeah. So open house wise, a lot of people, just open and wait there. And we try to create a little event or to give back something to the people that attends. I believe that the open house is actually for the brokers, not for the clients. If you're interested in spending 1.5 million or 2 or 3 or 5 into a home, you want to be there. You want to feel it. You want all the attention on you. You don't want to just pass by while everybody is there. So open houses is more to the brokers. So when you give something back, like you bring in a speaker, or you have a yoga class, or you create something different, like making the people want to come to your open house is different.
Oh, so you throw like a yoga class in one of your high-end listings or something that has a nice view or
We did that.
or something. Oh,
Yes, we try to create an event and not do a brokers open. Okay, so we bring either a fashion designer, and that is having her clothes in there, or we create bazaars so that people can come and shop and see the property itself. That's regarding like open houses or events. For marketing, like the videos and all that, just going with a different type of music, or uh, I like showing my shoes. Is because I'm afraid of the camera. It's not.
But shoes is
But
your thing or
that's
whatever.
the
Yeah.
thing, and everybody asks about my shoes, and it creates attention. That kind of things make people think outside the box. Or everybody puts the typical front of the house picture at the beginning of their listings. Play a little bit. Maybe sometimes you're selling a view that comes with an apartment. So that kind of things caught people attention.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, can you talk about how that builds clientele and trust?
The breaking
Breaking the mold, like how do you start a conversation from that? Like let's say you're doing a yoga class with your clients, like how does that build trust with your clients
well,
or
because
the brokers?
they feel it's different. It's more personal. Okay, when you break the pattern. Okay, and obviously you just don't send them come to the yoga class. No, you call them. Oh, hi, I saw that you kind of on your Instagram you go to a yoga class. I'm doing this one. Would you mind joining in? And you create like a relationship about that. Or when one that I love and my kids hate is when I'm in the supermarket in the line waiting to pay. I usually, if somebody's behind me, I ask them, "Do you live here? How did you buy your house?"
Just straight up.
Yeah,
I
or at
bet you've
least
got clients. I bet you've got clients that way though. People might be like,
100%.
what a weird lady. Why would she do that? But it probably cost you 2 minutes and a little bit of embarrassment of your daughter, but you also probably paid for her college doing that. Like
100%, and my kids hate it. But yes, one of the listings that I recently got, but was because of that. I was at a club that I joined to play tennis, And we were waiting for the class to begin, and I turned around and asked the person beside me, "So what do you do?" She's like, "Hi." So I'm a realtor. I just wanted to know what you do. Oh, I just recently moved here. We kind of want to change homes, and started the conversation.
I was gonna say, I mean, those natural conversations where you're out doing, your favorite things. Like I get a lot of leads playing basketball or, out and about. Those are the best. But you did mention, like, I mean, cold calling, door knocking, things along those lines. Is that still common in your world of doing luxury?
Yes, it is. We still work the expired
Mm.
listings, and it's important. Like, it's the easiest way to know who is willing to sell. Like in a farm area so big like the one that we work, is easier to know. And you break the pattern also in that cold calling. You don't call at 7 a.m. saying your last agent did a terrible job, I want to sell your house. It doesn't know. You send a note, and like, we have different strategies, obviously, that work for us, but
Mhm.
it's breaking that mold, is listening to people. A lot of sellers don't get to sell, not because of their agent, or because sometimes it's just market, or something else. But if you bring a connection, if you build a relationship, your clients are more than just a listing agreement for 6, 9, 12 months. Okay,
Yeah.
you keep them informed. You have a reason to call them. Okay, you want to share what you're doing for the property. You want to hear what they didn't like about the last agent that they worked with. So yes, it's still, I believe it's important to go after those expired, or after those um, not sold or canceled listings. And it's the easiest way to know who wants to sell. Door knocking, not doing it anymore. It
You're
got
still,
complicated.
so you'd say you're still a cold caller as of now?
Yes.
Okay. Do you portion a good amount of your time doing that each day, or?
Each day. My partner is a true believer in that, and he proved to me that is important. It's not the typical call calling, but yes, I do get the list, and I call at specific times that I know, and I have specific scripts, and they're not scripts. Actually, I don't call every expired. Okay,
Mhm.
I know that
There's a
probably
certain few demographic of like price points and areas where you're like, these
and
are the
most of
very
the
targeted
houses,
ones that you're gonna
yeah,
do.
100%. And most of the houses that I go after is houses that I know, and that I know I have a big chance of selling.
Makes sense.
That's great.
Otherwise, it's wasting time. I don't collect listings at all. One of the things that I love the most about my job is that I've been able to choose who I work with for
Mm.
the past 15 years. And that's, for me, that's huge. And people that work with me know that. I'm 24/7. They know that if they text me, I have one of my favorite clients. Uh, he's been with me forever. He's one of the first persons that believed I was going to make it in real estate. And he always texts me, Ale, I'm texting you on a Saturday. Please do not reply until Monday. And it's kind of a thing. I replied right away. I said, "We're never going to do it on Monday." No, I don't want to forget. I'm always here for you. So that's something you get when you work with me, or my partner. So it's huge. We just don't collect listings. We don't want to do that.
I was gonna say the best agents don't take days off. I mean, it's hard, it's really hard, especially when you care about your clients so much that you want to, get them the things that they need as quickly as possible. So you're providing that white glove amazing service.
My 10-year-old will tell it to you. She says, "My mom says it's life. It's her life."
Yeah.
Because they're
No.
always hearing in the car or anything. I'm always like, "Quiet, a client," and they know it's part of their life.
Yeah. Oh no, don't worry. That's part of all of our lives. We're always getting up at dinners and lunches to take a call here or there, or stop and write off a text. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have some out of the box ideas that you do for your business to get for marketing, but you also do a lot of the traditional things to build your leads. And we mentioned, like, obviously there's the agents who want, their lives to be like selling Sunset. They get their license and then they interview with you and they come into the office. How much is a culture shock for them to think that they're just going to dress up nice and go show a house when they have to, do 3 hours of cold calling.
Oh, 100%. And most of them, like, they don't, a lot of people don't see it as a job. Like, we dress up, we go to the office, we have meetings, we have time block, we wake up at 4 a.m. to meditate. Like, you have to adapt your life to what you want it to be. It's like, it's impossible to believe otherwise. In a recent interview, somebody asked me, so how do you manage your balance? How did you get to? Honestly, I'm sorry, but there's none. I would lie to you if I would tell you that I have balance in my life. Sorry, I read the books, tried the techniques. It's a lie. I haven't been able to do it. I just learn to live the way that I have to in order to have the career that I want to. And I don't get frustrated by it, honestly. I have 2 kids, and they know that 99% of the day I'm working. And if I can make it, great. If I can't, then I can't. It doesn't make me a bad mom at all. I have to sustain for them. So it's just a different way of seeing it. So I guess it's part of the career, and it's not the only career. Like doctors, like a few other careers have the same 24/7.
Yeah, you have to, when you get on call, you got to go to the hospital. You got to go, right?
Correct. And if you work with international clients, you cannot expect for them to be on your time, especially when you get clients in the other side of the world like I do. And
I mean, I think there's the missing part of that balance, which you kind of addressed, is that part of it too is just kind of accepting that you're on your own different timeline. You can time block in your own way and make your own schedule, and just accept that you're not going to have that same 9 to 5. And maybe the grass is always going to feel greener, but there's plenty of times when somebody that works a 9 to 5 feels like, oh, well, I wish I was going out to lunch or whatever. I wish it was, touring this beautiful property up at the top of this condo. But I think your point of just like accepting that there's times that I can't be doing this, that's kind of maybe the more right way of understanding it.
I mean, I would say this is that we're not working and we're always working at the same time, because leisure is work. When I'm out playing basketball, when I'm out golfing or hanging out with friends, hey, guess what? I'm working. I'm talking about real estate. I'm talking about the things that, at the end of the day too, I'm talking about ways to help them make money, because that interests me. I want to take care of my friends. And if it happens to come through real estate, which I really believe in, then I'm always working,
Exactly. And it becomes a part of it. I had my breaking point 6 years ago when I understood it, because I was currently frustrated, like, oh no, another school project at 10 a.m. and I cannot because that's the day that I have sales meeting. And I kept failing all the time. I felt that I kept failing until one day I read the right book called the 5 a.m. Club. And
someone in our office did that.
I got a new business coach, and it all made sense. I was trying to live somebody else's pattern and the typical cookie cutter thing that we were talking about. And it's when you understand and try to mix both concepts. Do not reinvent the wheel, but think outside the box. And that merging made me who I am today. And let me tell you, I love my life. I love my work. I truly feel that I'm where I wanted to be at my 40s. So 43.
I love that.
It's great. Yeah.
I mean, well, with that book, and I know I have a lot of friends doing the whole 5 a.m. club thing. What are you doing with those extra hours when nobody's able to call you other than your international clients?
Well, let me tell you, I love it. It really changed my life, because the first hour, and I do it at 4. Like I had to change it a little bit because I take my kids to school, but it became a habit. And sometimes even when like I don't want, because it's impossible to do it for the rest of your life, obviously, but your body adapts to it. So that first hour of the day, it's for myself. It's the only time when I can say, okay, no, I'm not going to think about this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do this. And then when you begin before the rest of the world, trust me, it makes a huge difference. Like if you arrive at the office at 7, from 7 to 9, you do all the prep without the interference. And then when everybody arrives, they are behind, not you. And that helps the whole day. So if you have to be on showings or out of the office after 11, 12, it's completely different.
I mean, with both you guys working in the culinary world in the past, I mean, it's kind of like a prep, right? The meal prep, or when you chop up all the food.
You get your stuff done ahead of time, then you're in good shape.
Is the mise en place correct?
Yep.
Mise en place,
Mise en place, yep.
Yeah, 100%.
So, curious, you talked a little bit about meeting your clients' needs, and being super proactive with that and being really involved overall in the process and kind of getting a lot of repeat clients. I think there's a lot of scare in the industry right now with the new NAR settlement. And a lot of folks are feeling like suddenly they have to explain their value to clients. Where is your business practice at in terms of buyer's agency in the state of Florida? I'm not sure if you guys already had to do those agreements ahead of time. How is that looking for you, and what is your thoughts on that overall in terms of adjusting your practice?
Yes, so it's still new, and I'm going to speak for myself, especially. I understand that a lot of people are concerned, okay, and obviously it's scary for what we are seeing, we are reading, because a lot of people are saying what they interpret.
What they're afraid of, basically, right? That's what they
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. But if you read carefully what this is about, it's kind of the way commercial, how we work commercial. Okay.
And you've done a ton of work in commercial already.
Correct. And honestly, since I began, I did know how it worked. So it has always been transparent on my side. We have always worked that way, and we know the value that we bring in. And it depends on the area and who wants to take it and for what. But regarding representing a buyer, it's on them. And I've always said it, even before NAR, because a lot of people tell you, oh, yes, but my sister has a license, I'm going to work with her. Or no, I know my other family member that is not a realtor, but has a license. And 99.9% out of 100 times, they call you. Hey, we don't know what's going on because of this. Being an agent is not being an agent is not getting someone in a house, convincing them to buy in, and it's not true. How many houses do you go and show and the buyer tells you they're not willing to pay what the seller is asking for? Or how many times we get contracts that are 30-40% far apart? The job of an agent, you need to know about inspections. You need to know about the properties. You need to know legal, because you need to do the contracts. You need to know about psychology, because you need, if not, contracts would never be signed.
Yep.
Okay. You have many roles in being an agent, and people are free to do whatever they want. If you want to sell your house on your own, go for it. I'm no one to say no. What caught my attention is we that live for that work on that, sometimes take a lot of time, effort, tactics, strategies to get the job done. So it's as in everything. I truly believe that whatever is happening is gonna shift us to an easier path. And it's gonna get rid of all the, how would I call this? The not so professional agents that are in the industry. And that's good.
The door openers, the ones who are not educated, who don't know that. I'm sure I know a ton of agents who don't even know what's going on with the NAR settlement at all. So
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. A lot of people say, oh no, just the lawsuit that recently, 2019. This started 2019.
Yeah, it's been happening. They've been talking about it for a long time. Yeah.
So part of the hardest things of being an agent is some of the agents you get to work with. A lot of transactions don't get to a closing because of unprepared professionals behind it, either agents, loan officers, attorneys, inspection companies.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to know. Like if you read an inspection report especially after pandemic, you would go insane. When the market boomed, okay, everybody wanted to be in real estate. So everybody got a real estate license. Everybody created an inspection company. Everybody got a loan officer's license. Realtors got mortgage licenses. We wanted to do it all, and it's impossible.
Yeah.
We have a saying in Spanish that is zapatero a su zapato. In English, it would translate shoemaker to shoemaking. Like, you know what you know. So I truly believe that what's going on, again, my, how you say that? My opinion, my personal opinion, it is not as bad as it looks. It's actually going to be a more transparent way of working for the ones that were not being transparent.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like I said, there's probably too many agents in the business. Like I said, glorified door openers, and I hate calling them that because we're all fellow realtors working together, hopefully. It's tough. I don't know if you ever get these have these listings and you just get an offer out of nowhere where nobody's communicated with you, but it is a hard job. It's a place to be uncomfortable, a place to have hard conversations. The best realtors do that, and along with all the things you talked about, negotiating, psychology. I always call it playing poker. Are you giving away your hand? And there's too many agents that are not in their their client's best interest in giving away information that loses their leverage. And so
Correct.
that's why you need a good realtor, because you want to save yourself 2.5% because you don't want to represent yourself, but you don't know how to play poker with the other agent, then you might lose way more than that.
Correct. And it's complicated because there's actually a code. Like we have rules and we have laws that we need to follow, and a lot of people don't.
Yes.
And that's what makes the difference. That's what truly makes the difference, because you cannot forget you're representing the best interest of one of the persons in the transaction.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you think about it, we have like what, 1 million realtors, and how many people are really following the code of ethics? Of course, the best ones do. And this is the thing too with the NAR settlement. And if a seller is going to say, hey, I don't want to pay the buyer's agent anything, the bad agents they're gonna, obviously think very short term and just take the deal. And I think they'll be out of the business very quickly when, hey, they may not be getting clients through the door, agents through the door. So how would you handle if you had a listing client, a seller who said, I saw the NAR settlement and I also don't want to pay the buyer's agent? How would you handle that?
Well, it happened. Okay, one of my sellers called me and said, listen, I read this, what's going on? When you get a listing, okay, let's say you want to sell your house, okay, you know what you want to net, and you price your house plus what you're going to pay of commission.
You go backwards from what you're going to net.
Whoever tells you that is not being completely honest. Like the sellers know, okay, but who brings the money in the end is the buyer, okay, and in the middle of the negotiation, okay, sometimes commission gets negotiated during a contract, okay. It happens a lot of times. Why it happens? You have a relationship with the client, you feel it's fair, or you want the transaction to happen because you truly believe this is the best home for your client, or this is the best option for your seller. It has never been written in stone that the commission was whatever it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has always been a matter of conversation. Now, to my sellers, what I tell them is, first of all, everyone is free to work with whoever they want, okay? And I'm going to be doing the best that I can to sell your home. But if other properties are offering compensation, I'm not in those other agents' mind. I'm not sure that those other agents are giving your house the same opportunity as the other properties that they are offering to their clients, because it's human. Nobody wants to work for free.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's basically, so it's easier if you tell me how much would you want, and we add the commission to the compensation to the buyer's agent, and let's try it that way. And whatever we receive, then we work on that. My performance is not gonna be better or worse or worst, but I cannot guarantee the performance of the person bringing the client.
Right.
So basically, and in the end, the buyer is the one bringing the money. So it's like the story of what comes first, the egg or the chicken or whatever. Like, nobody has ever obligated anyone, or at least in my team or in my little real estate world, to pay anything. I've negotiated commissions along my way for 15 years.
Yeah.
And it is the way it is. And you take it or you leave it and you move on.
Yeah. That's great. I really appreciate that. I mean, like I said, this is the scary moment for a lot of agents who don't know how to portray their value or don't know how to portray that story about bringing marketing and bringing people to the home. If you know, like I said, short-sighted agents who want to get the deal.
Correct. And to the buyers, it's going to be kind of similar, because if the buyer is working with an agent and seriously is working with that agent and is not wasting that agent's time, okay, what's the difference of signing a buyer's agreement or not?
Yeah.
And if you know what is the value of the home that you're looking, you need to pay for the service that person is going to perform for you, because that person is going to look for your best interests. And if you don't want to use a buyer's agent, then you go and deal directly with a seller or a seller's agent, or however you want to do it. But it's always been a misconception, especially when people think that if they don't work with an agent, they're going to save the money of their commission.
Yeah.
That I can tell you in my experience, that is the worst misconception in real estate ever. And is the easiest thing for any agent representing a seller, or for any seller having someone unrepresented coming to buy a property, especially in Florida.
No, I mean, it's like similar with FSBOs too, you know, for sale by owner. Like, how many of those people go, it's like, I'm going to save all this commission by doing this myself, and end up back on the market anyways with an agent? It's harder than you think.
Losing time.
Yeah, losing time, losing money, having no advice on how to get your house ready. I mean, no market.
Imagine somebody coming into your house and saying that it's horrible, that the ceiling is low, that the AC is dirty, that it's unhuman. Honestly, it's like your home is your sacred place. And buyers are investors that want to put your property like to the lowest level to pay the lowest amount that they want. So it's a hard job. So on the contrary, I'd really admire people that are able to sell their homes on their own. For me, my home is sacred and it's beautiful and it's perfect, but that's for me.
Yeah.
No, I get that. No, and you know, in this new market, if a new agent were to come in and say they wanted to be where you are in the next 5 years, what would you tell them to get started in getting into this business?
I would tell them that it's going to take them 5 years of working really hard, extremely disciplined, like in an extremely disciplined way. And then they are going to see that it's the best job ever. Like, it's whoever thinks coming into real estate is easy is completely wrong. You need to build your sphere of influence again. You need to create a network of agents that are going to look at you as the newbie, and you need to know your market data. You need to be a market specialist. You need to know everything that happens in your market. Otherwise, you're going to fail your clients. There's no way you are going to make it if you do not know your area.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And if you were to give advice to a first-time investor, go ahead.
Yeah. And the other advice and it's not an advice, it's actually a requirement that we make our agents do. Every course on your association, like or on your state you need to take.
Like the local in-person courses.
You need to learn contracts. You need to learn addendums. You need to learn how to use, how to search, how to read.
Oh yeah.
You got to know your craft.
You gotta know how to do it. Nobody's gonna do it for you. Then get the assistant that can do it. But you need to know those contracts. That is the power of the agent, the contracts.
I was going to say, you know, it's funny because a lot of people get into real estate because they didn't want to go to school. They didn't want to get an education when this is one of the most educated fields that you need to be in to be successful.
Now I want to be an attorney after doing this. I feel
God,
it's gonna be easier.
Yeah, we read just as many contracts probably, I'm sure.
A lot of people don't know the liability you have as an agent.
Oh yeah.
And it's huge.
Yeah.
And if you know, if you were to recommend to somebody that was looking at investing for their first time or getting started in real estate, what would you suggest to target our strategy to employ for their first purchase?
Okay, so depending on the budget, and I'm going to talk about the market that I know that is Florida.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear about.
There's two of my favorite ones. Okay, either a duplex or warehouse spaces in undeveloped or unattentioned areas, like I call them. There's still a lot of land and undeveloped areas in Miami that could bring you very, very nice returns of
Really?
30, depending on the years. Yes, because we're still a growing state and I don't know, I don't think a lot of people know this, but for over 12 years now, we have been on the rise or on our median home prices year over year. And that's a record. Okay. Miami is growing in every way, commercial or residential. So for investors that are able to get either a duplex or a tiny small warehouse on undeveloped, unattentioned areas, and just rent it for the next 4-6 years, I think it's gonna be huge.
Let's dive into that warehouse really quick because we haven't had anyone talk about buying warehouses on our cast so far. What does that look like price point wise? How do you finance it? What
are they doing with the warehouses in particular?
So I'll give you actually a real example.
Perfect.
I've been working with this investor that in his home country, like his business, is having huge warehouses that he rents to different entities or individuals. Okay, let's say you have, I don't know, a clothes shop and you rent 2,000 square feet of the 30,000 square feet complete warehouse. You know, like he sublists. Okay, these units. So we started buying warehouses a little far from Miami, like from, let's say, the downtown area, like 30 minutes away, okay, on the highway. We bought these warehouses at 1 million. They are huge, okay? They're big warehouses. So we were buying at 1 million to 2 million, okay? Acre lots with 30,000 up to 35,000 square feet of warehouse. Plain industrial, okay? This is just walls, metal roof from 1960, individual ACs. The modern ones had central AC, but basically that was it, okay? Zero investment, real estate taxes, and whatever maintenance the property would need. Okay, hurricane, no problem. This is concrete walls, attached roofs, nothing happens. And insurance back then was very it was not expensive.
It was affordable. Okay? Yeah, you could still get a premium.
Correct. After pandemic, don't ask me why, the warehouse boom started in Miami. Then now I understand why. So a lot of people are doing e-commerce now, and they need to have whatever they sell stored. Okay, and spaces in Miami are small. Okay, so basically they were the ones renting out this. The same ones we bought at 1.2 sold for 6 million in less than 4 years.
Wow.
The industrial real estate has been having a growth. Okay, and it always happens the same way. I don't know if over there is the same, but houses start being the focus. Then condos. That we run out of houses, we go for condos. Then we go for commercial, and then it comes back again. So that's basically the reason that I truly believe for any investor, assuming they have a small budget, they can just go for either a duplex or a warehouse. They're gonna have the tenant assured.
Yeah, no,
So
I love that. I mean, 5-year leases, right, on commercial warehouse. Obviously, if you're a good manager and you can break it up into multiple spaces that you can rent out for a lot more, appraise it on the income approach. If you are obviously renting out multiple stalls within your warehouse,
and they're
that you
in
can,
super high demand, especially freezer ones.
yeah.
I'm in the lookout for a bunch. I have investors looking for them, and I'm
Do
in a
you
way.
manage the warehouses too for your clients then too?
We do manage them.
Oh,
Usually they're operated by by an individual that
sure.
works. If it's their business, yes. Otherwise, we would rent it out for them. Yes.
Is there a lot of build out in terms of those warehouses? I know you said they're very bare 1960s buildings, but obviously you gotta put some work
Amazing
into.
ones. It
Huh?
depends. Like warehouses here can be man caves, can be $4 million collection car warehouses,
No.
or the typical save the corn warehouse. Like throw in there whatever you want, dusty warehouse. But yes, there is a huge demand for warehouse here in Miami.
Would self-storage count as warehouse? I mean, that's similar, right?
Self-storage is like my freezers. I can't find any.
I know that was really hot in the investor world for a while, so everybody was trying to snatch up every self-storage out there that they could. So,
Yes, actually, the story that I told you of my warehouses, we were bought by a big self-storage company.
oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Like I said, it's great because you can raise the rent 20% and there's no landlord-tenant laws on self-storage.
Exactly. And again, Miami, it's a place for realistic investors.
Yeah.
And that's very important. Like people that want to earn 80%, 100%, maybe this is not your market. But if you are a realistic real estate investor, this is a great place to be.
I mean, it's similar to Portland, not exactly similar to Portland. We're a lot colder than Miami,
Yes.
obviously, but I say we're appreciation markets. We're places where you can build value very quickly. If you want that cash flow, or you want, like I said, the best cash and cash return, not cash and cash return. Yeah, cash and cash return, like maybe go to the Midwest. You might just never have your property appreciate. But, if you are a smart investor and you know your market, you can make just as much, if not more money in our markets. It just had to patient money. That's what I call it. Be patient.
Yeah, well, now I'm going to steal that from you because I call it intelligent money. Like easy money, easy comes, easy goes.
Yeah.
But if you are realistic, Miami is a great place to invest in real estate. And in every level, I'm telling you, in every level. We do it for high net worth investors, okay? For example, there's a boom right now with penthouses in Miami. It makes sense. To own that penthouse of a building is, very, very specific. Okay, not everybody gets to be. So that's very Miami. And currently we're working on a deal that it's an opportunity. And how did we found it? Because we know our market, we know our farm, and this is something that we have been studying for a while, and we pitch it to these kind of investors. And we have the typical first-time investors that we were all once there, and that's the one that actually needs the more knowledge and more patience and more psychology, and we love those because those are the clients that you're going to have forever if you do it right.
Oh, yeah.
So whoever wants to invest with 100,000, 300,000, like it doesn't matter. It is how you feel with them and how they feel with you. Those are the investors that you want, because if you make them grow, they're going to grow with you.
Yeah, you're molding them with you, and if you make them a lot of money, then they're obviously going to continue to work with you. So,
all right. And the easiest way is pre-construction. We have a lot of pre-construction. If you get into the right one, you are going to be paying little by little over 4 or 3 years. Like you're able to gain the money, finished paint, which you can get, actually, you can finance the rest of the pre-construction. Usually you pay 40 and then you finance 60%. And you start with your first real estate investment. That's another typical way to start investing in Miami, with the pre-construction projects.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was a super great conversation. But if our audience was interested in getting a hold of you, or finding you on social media, or just contacting you, for a home in Miami, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can contact me through my phone number. I'm very good with text. I can also be found on social media or email. I'm always available, honestly.
And what is your social media handle?
My social media is aleam.broker. So it's aleam.broker.
Got it.
And my phone number is 305-904-0410.
Great. No, thank you so much. I mean, I'm super excited. Hopefully, we have some interesting.
You have to come to Miami so I can explain it in person.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we'll fly out for sure.
When we're out there, we'll come find you.
We need the sun. Let's just say that.
Good.
Yeah,
I'll give you a tour so you can have fun here.
We would love that.
Yeah, we really appreciate your knowledge, and thank you for sharing your time.
Thank you.
On the contrary, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course.